This is the Anova Precision handheld vacuum sealer. It is a battery-powered vacuum pump that comes with reusable vacuum pump bags. You can place food in the bags and seal them with this vacuum pump for freezing or cooking in a sous vide device. As you can see, it evacuates the air from this bag. This is a FoodSaver V3250, which is a plug-in food saver, and it also has an accessory port, and this accessory which can be used to vacuum seal canning jars. So I'm interested in knowing if I can use this handheld unit to seal canning jars, because this guy here is kind of bulky and big, and if I could replace it with this guy, that'd be kind of nice, because I don't actually use the press and seal, heat sealed vacuum bags. So first thing I want to look at is how much vacuum can this little handheld device give, and how does that compare to the plug-in FoodSaver? Now to measure vacuum, typically you use millimeters of mercury, and I have a handheld vacuum pump that will measure this. And so I'm going to use this measuring gauge to figure out how much vacuum I can get. Alright, first up with the Anova handheld. See there, it pulls into just about 13 or 14 millimeters of mercury. So it automatically shuts off when it reaches its set point there. So I can keep pushing the button and inch it up to 15. But it looks like it's about 15 millimeters of mercury of vacuum. Alright, I'm going to be using the accessory port to measure the same thing off of the FoodSaver. I have it not in the gentle mode, but I have it in the normal mode. And we will plug this guy on here. So you can see that the FoodSaver goes up to about 16 millimeters of mercury without me having to push it or anything, but it's a pretty comparable amount of vacuum here. So we are going to be using the FoodSaver top accessory, but we're using the Anova to do it. And luckily the circle here is just about the right size. You have to avoid the FoodSaver text, but if you line it up pretty carefully and then kind of push down, you can push down on it, and it's making the seal, and you can see there it's vacuumed it up. And then when you pull this off, it automatically releases the vacuum on this guy, so that guy pops off. The lid's on there pretty good. It's holding a vacuum. Let me see about pushing this off. Yeah, so that was almost as hard to pop off as with the FoodSaver. So that's kind of the difference between 14 millimeters of mercury to 16 millimeters of mercury. But it is definitely drawing a vacuum and pulling that down. But it does look like you can just use the jar sealer accessory from a FoodSaver with this Anova battery-powered handheld vacuum unit. Now, you do have to hold it down when you get the vacuum started, whereas this guy just plugs in and it's a little bit easier to use, but this stores a lot smaller than that guy.